What's up guys, I'm Sean. Today's video I'm going to show you how to change the charge pipe to an aftermarket charge pipe with a blow-off valve on your N54 335i. So this is what I'm installing today, the active Autowerke blow-off valve kit. Getting rid of my factory diverter valves and going for blow-off valve. Active Autowerke already includes installation instructions on their website, so you can check that out. But I'm doing a quick video. I don't have my stock air box. I'm running aftermarket dual cone intake, so I'm going to remove that and then get to the charge pipe. The first thing we're going to do to give us more room is to remove the air ram here. And to remove this, you use a T20 Torx bit. With the screws off, I'm just going to wiggle this out, move this out of the way. I'm going to remove this hose, squeezing here, and just lifting up. And move this out of the way. Now I'm going to remove my intakes. This is a 6mm socket. Just loosen that. Move this out of the way. I'm going to loosen this 6mm bolt to take off the other intake. Just going to take off. And here's the factory charge pipe. The factory charge pipes are known to crack running stock boosts or even aftermarket boosts. It's made out of plastic, and over time it cracks, so a lot of people replace them. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the factory diverter valves. So to remove the factory diverter valves, you just grab this plastic hose and you turn it, and you just slide this off. Grab this, turn it. So it comes off. One in the back. You can see there. So slide that one out. My setup is slightly different because I am tapping into the line so I can run my boost gauge. So basically we're gonna have to I'm gonna pull this line off. So I basically just unhook the line. These are my diverter valves, and here are my factory diverter valves. So this is the line going to the intake manifold that we're going to plug up to the blow-off valve. The next step is to unplug this sensor. So since I'm having a hard time removing this connector, I'm just going to undo the two screws instead with a T25 Torx. There's a gasket there that makes it kind of stiff. You just wiggle it out, and there it is. Make sure you still have the gasket with you. So we're going to reinstall this to the new charge pipe. So I'm going to use a number 7 socket to loosen the bottom part of the charge pipe, and a T30 Torx to remove the bolt holding the charge pipe. So if this loose and this loose, now we're going to just pop off this spring clip, and the whole charge pipe is ready to come out. So I pulled it off the bottom first, and you just have to wiggle this out, but you have to make sure the spring clamp is kind of in a certain position before you can wiggle it out. And then there's an internal gasket that we want to keep. So this factory AC line bracket is known to rub the hose of the blow-off valve kit. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this bracket with 4mm Allen wrench, and we're going to trim off this little piece. There's 2 Allen head bolts. I just removed the inner screw. Now I'm going to remove the screw on the outside. And you can wiggle this bracket out. kind of slide it up and wiggle it out. And now bracket comes out. You're just going to trim this top part using a Dremel, razor, whatever you have. Now with this trimmed, I'm going to reinstall it. The AC line bracket's been reinstalled, so there's more clearance now. So we're going to move the factory gasket and install it into the new charge pipe. We're going to install the hose that came with the kit to the bottom of the charge pipe. I pulled the connector off of the sensor and then we're going to install it into the charge pipe. So we're going to install the sensor into the charge pipe and then make sure it's facing down. Make sure that gasket is still on it as well. With the sensor installed, the gasket, the factory gasket in place, and the hose at the bottom of the charge pipe, we're ready to install it. So before we install the charge pipe, the next thing we're going to do is cap off the factory diverter valve opening, and these use the cap that was provided by Active Autowerks and use a zip tie. These aren't under pressure, so we don't have to worry about them. And the one in the very back cap here. Now the line that came with the kit, I'm going to hook it up to my splitter. This goes to the intake manifold, this one goes to my boost gauge. So this line is hooked up and it's going to go to the top port of the blow-off valve, and I'll show you in a second. I just grabbed the spring clip from the factory charge pipe and I'm going to install it into the blow-off valve. So I just removed my strut bar to get more clearance. So the first thing we do with the blow-off valve is we're going to install the bottom hose first. So I just slid on the bottom part and I'm going to rotate it so I can snap on that one. So I removed the clip to allow me to slide this on nice and flush. So with the charge pipe position where I want it, with a lot of, enough clearance from the reservoir, clearance here, and basically going to reinstall the spring clip. And this part, this points backwards. And you hear that click, spring clip is on. We're going to reinstall this connector right here. So that clicks in. The hose from earlier that goes directly to the intake manifold, and it's spliced right here to go to my boost gauge. But this is the hose that goes to the intake manifold and it's going to go to the blow-off valve. So the blow-off valve, we're going to use the top bung right here. I'm going to run my hose in a way that gives me enough clearance. And basically cut it to where I want it and then slide it over here. Put the hose connected to the blow-off valve. Now I'm going to just tighten these clamps. Now I'm going to reinstall my intakes. Intake back on. Pop this back on. Reinstall this air ram, and basically it's done.